We are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years. But not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the price of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co, Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
The Night Train is brought to you by St Andrews Hotel, 128 Nicholson Street, Fitzroy. Beautifully crafted, cosy and intimate spaces for your drinking and dining experiences.
I think the Knights, their time has arrived. I think last week, the 10-man performance in the preliminary final was absolutely exceptional, so I'm going for the Knights.
When you talk of Knights, it's a real fighting team.
Buskuk into the back of the net. Melbourne Knights take the lead 1-0. Melbourne Knights will win the Doherty Cup.
Croatia looking for a finals berth. That's it! The Croatia fans salute the goal that could be so vital.
And good evening, Knights fans. Welcome back to the Night Train. We'll be discussing everything and anything Melbourne Knights. Once again, I'm your host, Anthony Zovac. And joining me once again is my co-host for the year, Josh Parrish. Josh, welcome back, mate.
Yeah, good to be back in the studio after lockdown, man.
Oh, no. I think, like most of the rest of Victoria, Melbourne, Australia, the world, a bit over the lockdowns, but we had football back this weekend, and it's fantastic to have MPL action back and to be joined once again in studio by you, Joshy, and by all of our loyal listeners on the Night Train. We've got a pretty good show, I reckon, tonight. We have the weekend round wrap-up, and obviously with the original Melbourne derby coming up this weekend, we've got a bit to talk about, Josh.
I think we should chuck in some Olympics chat in the back end as well.
There's got to be a bit of Olympics talk.
It's just a flavour of the month.
You've been watching much of it, Josh?
I've been getting into sports that I've never watched before and declaring myself an expert after about 20 minutes of viewing, which is the beautiful thing about the Olympics.
It's wonderful. There's nothing better than watching gymnastics, watching a bloke stumble a little bit after he's done about 15 backflips and just gone, idiot.
Technique was a little bit off there. It's going to cost him a penalty point.
Point. While you're sitting on the couch stuffing your face with chips. It's wonderful. You got to love the Olympics. Look, for me, I'm a bit of a golfer, as most people would know, and having golf in the Olympics this time around was fantastic. There was a 7-way playoff for the bronze medal. Absolutely riveting action. But the Matildas got a pretty big game on tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Straight after the show. So if anyone is interested in watching in, they do kick off at 9 o'clock. Massive game against Sweden, so best of luck to the girls.
So I'm sorry, Zovac, no going overtime tonight. We are finishing at 8:59 p.m. on the dot, and then the stream is going up on the big telly. So
going up on the big telly, so
little watch party here at F&R Studios.
Might even hang around and watch with you, Josh, since we're allowed out of the house now.
Of course.
Look, wonderful, and we've got to give a quick shout out to our sponsors before we continue. So big thank you to I&D Group, Living Gems Lifestyle Resorts, Melbourne Croatia Soccer Club, the Australian Croatian clubs of Melbourne and Geelong, Adcon Group, Evolve Reinforcement, Empire Global, and the show sponsor, once again, Mr. Tony Vujic down at the St Andrews Hotel. So thank you once again to all of our sponsors. Without the without the things you provide, our club would not be able to function as we do at the moment. So a big thank you once again to all of you. Now, just to give a quick wrap-up of our junior results from the weekend, the Mini Roos under 8s with a 3-2 win over George Cross, the under 10s with a 4-2 win over Keilor Park, under 10s J with a 5-3 win over Albion Rangers, and the under 11s with a 5-0 win over Gisborne. So congratulations to the Mini Roos, clean sweep this weekend.
Nice one.
It's always good when you see a few wins in the junior columns. The junior boys, under 12s Wallabies with a 5-2 loss to Melbourne City. The under 12s Kangaroos with a 1-1 draw with George Cross. The under 13s A with a 6-1 loss to St Albans. In the NPL, the under 14s boys with a 3-1 win to Heidelberg. The under 15s with a 3-2 loss to Whittlesea. The under 16s with a 3-2 win over Geelong. And the under 17s with a 3-0 loss to Murray United. Now, just to wrap up the girls' results from over the weekend, the under 9 girls with a 12-2 win over Satellite City. Well done, girls. That's a fantastic result. The under 12 girls with a 5-1 win over Westside Strikers. The under 14 girls with a 2-1 win over St Albans. Well done, girls. And the senior women's and reserves, the senior reserves with a 11-1 loss to Melbourne University, and the senior women with a 7-1 loss to Melbourne University. So better luck to next week for all the teams who didn't quite get the results they would have been looking for over the weekend.
Melbourne Uni is an unbelievable women's team, by the way. If people don't know, they've got all these international students they can draw upon each semester. Some of those players should be in the W League. It's kind of nuts. So, it's always a challenge coming up against that squad.
Well, there you go. So, better luck next week, I suppose, for all the teams with maybe a bit unfortunate results from over the weekend. Now just going into the Mpl wrap-up over the weekend. And as we said a bit earlier, Josh, absolutely fantastic to have the NPL action back.
Oh, it's so good. I missed it so much. It's always with the NPL, you kind of don't know what you've got till it's gone. Especially as a commentator, I have always looked forward to doing the calls. It's kind of like one of the highlights of my working week, and well, probably the highlight. And when it's off, there's a hole in your heart that no amount of Olympic golf or
it's not the same, mate.
Netflix can really fill.
Nah, it's not the same. It's look, as good as it was to have it back, it's going to be even better when hopefully, with the directives given out by the state government, even as of this weekend, look, we're hoping it might change, but as it stands at the moment, I believe the capacity is capped at about 200 odd people. So, between your players and their coaching staff and that, I don't think they're opening the doors up to the public. So, look, hopefully that changes by this weekend. But if not, that first walk back into Knight Stadium next week on Friday night is going to be fantastic.
Now, without wanting to get too flippant or even too political on this show, Zovac, I think this just goes to show that there are not enough ethnics in the Victorian government.
No.
If there were.
No.
I mean, it's clearly like a skip administration because they suckle at the teat of the AFL and give them as much money as they can possibly get their hands on to renovate their club rooms or whatever.
Or maybe, advance notice of a lockdown so they can get out of the state so their games can continue.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, if we had a few itches or, whatever. Or, a few Ovskis on the state government board, then we would have a separation between what community sport is and what NPL is, which is a totally different case. Like semi-professional sport is different.
It's different
to community sport. If you look at the stadiums, these restrictions are based on a one-size-fits-all approach to the kind of park football that we would play, not a 4,000 or 8,000 capacity, night stadium.
Yeah, well, and this is where I think pretty much from the start of this thing, what everyone I think is looking for is maybe a bit of nuance in how we're dealing with things, not just a blanket approach. If one can't have it, no one can have it. Look, when you're looking at across the stadiums in the league, like Port Melbourne, for example, with the restrictions, if they said one person for every 4 square metres or whatever it is, they can maybe have 150, 200 people. Knight Stadium, we can very easily probably take in 1,000, maybe 1,200.
Square metre rule would be the easiest way to create a rule for each venue because the venues are so different, I suppose. So different.
You know,
you don't have people in charge making the calls that have any knowledge of this world. So
no, and that's, I think, for me, the real frustrating part, because when you're looking for a bit of nuance and maybe a bit of a way to engage with the clubs and even get maybe a little bit of a revenue stream back in for, you know, the clubs now playing behind closed doors, a lot of clubs are really going to struggle with that. You know, if it goes for, you know, they're saying it's only going to go for 2 weeks, but as we've all come to know throughout the last couple of years, things can change at the drop of a hat. So who knows what's going to end up happening. We're hoping it opens up, but it's not sustainable to have clubs like ours playing behind closed doors week in, week out.
it's a heartbreaking sight to go to a game, and I know I'm in a privileged position where I can go to some of these games as a commentator. I mean, even media, people with media passes are restricted now unless you're doing work at the game. You have to get pre-approved to actually gain entry. So, you know, I'm very much like the public in that respect, but it is a heartbreaking sight to go to a game that's on and have a, decent atmosphere with all the club officials and players from the Razzies gathered around and so forth, and have the shutters on the canteen. It's just not NPL without the Souvlaki smoke or the Javafi smoke wafting over through the air.
I can't wait to go back to a game and have some old ethnic lady sweating over meat. It's one of the things that make our league what it is.
It's only half what it could be when the fans aren't there and the food's not there. And
look, prime example over the weekend. I mean, you look at some of the games that were played, I'm sure they would have had bumper crowds for, us playing at Dandy City, Croatian Derby on a Friday night. You would have had a fair few people there, I dare say. Even the Hume City South Melbourne game, that's looking like a decent crowd. Heidelberg, Dandy. A few big games over the weekend. Even the Oakley Port Melbourne game. There's top of the table action, left, right, and centre. With the league as jumbled as it is in the middle of the table, it's you just want to be there.
Yeah, well, at least we got the live streams. Yeah, they seem to hold up over the week. Not too many technical difficulties. So that's good.
I think maybe the benefit of everyone being at home is you maybe got a bit of time to iron that sort of stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But look, I'm sure the rest of you are as well, just hanging to get back into the grounds and
just to give people a bit of a peek behind the curtain as well, what's going on with the live streams. There was a really tragic accident up in Queensland with a scaffold that actually fell on top of someone.
Yeah, I did hear something about that. Football Victoria have decided, in light of that accident, that none of the scaffolds are to be used for broadcasts until each and every one of them has been checked and tagged and properly approved, which is, I think, maybe an overdue kind of safety precaution. There's some real rickety stuff in the league. I don't know, but I suspect actual towers and permanent structures like Knight Stadium, like what Preston have got now, like, Box Hill, for example, where I was on the weekend, has a media box and a grandstand. That's all fine. But if you see some shoddy quality ground level broadcasting, that's the reason why. Because they're quite literally been forbidden by the governing body from using the scaffolding to film the game from. It's really unfortunate that all this has coincided with the fact that no one can go and everyone's at home and relying on the live streams. So I understand if there is some frustration in that department, but it's not really worth it if someone's going to fall off and because themselves a serious injury or worse. Safety has to be the number one priority, and that's one of the things when the Mpl guidelines got drawn out, that the media sections needed to be up to standard, and unfortunately for whatever reason different clubs seem to get away with different levels of stuff in terms of that. At Knight Stadium, everyone is very well catered for, as we all know.
Yeah, it's one of the best places to call from in the league. You've got proper box up there, shielded from the elements. Yeah,
and look, I think we're maybe a bit lucky in terms of that's maybe a remnant of the old National League having that set up there. But, again, the club done a wonderful job in renovating that just a couple of years ago, bringing it up to standard. So
that was renovated for the FFA Cup tie.
Yeah, correct. So
I recall.
If that's if it means a couple of weeks of average streams to make sure everyone's safe, then that's just what's going to have to happen. And like you said, Josh, maybe a bit overdue.
Yeah, and we've made the point before in this program. There's enough, people involved in construction in NPL. Like, how hard is it to get properly approved
scaffolding?
Yeah,
it's not hard.
If it's something that on a work site you would have qualms about, then it's not good enough for the cameraman. It's not good enough for the commentators.
Now, Josh, if you're working on a union commercial site, there's one set of rules. Now, I'm sure a lot of our listeners may or may not have seen the conditions on the odd domestic building site or two, but the scaffolds at every NPL game I've been to have looked better than a bunch of them that I've worked on personally.
Yep, good point. I was talking Union Strong. You know.
Union Strong, mate.
Hey, you guys don't work in a light drizzle, so
Yeah, well, this is true.
let alone unsafe scaffolding.
This is true. Fantastic. All right, Josh, let's take a bit of a dive into the results from over the weekend. Dandenong and Bentley Greens rather, and Green Gully playing out a 2-0 win to Bentley on Friday night. Really, two pretty big mistakes by Gully, gifting Bentley 2 goals.
Oh my God, the first one.
The first one was so bad, so bad.
I mean, we know that they've had options, instances in the goalkeeping department that haven't really gone to plan. But that was a particularly glaring mistake. Was it Jared Tyson?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Bad back pass.
So he takes risks that he shouldn't take when he comes outside of his area.
That was the second one, Josh. The first one was the back pass.
Yeah. So, but he still shouldn't have given the ball to that player in that position.
Yeah,
but
you're probably right.
You're probably right that it was the centre back. I think it was Hall more at fault for it.
Look.
But that was a hospital pass. I mean, how many tap-ins is Braden Crowley going to be gifted this season? He's leading a charmed life.
He's reminiscent of old mate Mario Gomez with just ridiculous amount of tap-ins every year. But that's just, I think, that striker's knows, mate. He knows where to be and when to be there.
He works hard as well, I gotta say. He's always
work rate's
tearing around the pitch and looking for those little mistakes, and he capitalises.
And he gets them. He gets them.
They happen.
I reckon 3 to 5 goals a year he picks up on little dinky things like that.
Which kind of makes up for the fact that sometimes he can't hit the side of a barn door. He goes through these patches where he can't finish anything, and he's got to get himself into those positions of the 6-yard open goal tap-ins every now and again, because otherwise the goal droughts continue.
Yeah, and even the second goal here, Josh, not quite sure what the keeper was thinking here. A bit reminiscent of David Seaman back in 2002.
Caught out.
Look, he jumped.
Badly.
He jumped at least, but just in two minds, I think, whether to catch or punch, sort of gone for something in between, and ball's just trickled into the back of the net there.
Tough watch back on the video review for
Gully this week, definitely.
Green Gully.
Definitely.
Because they were in that game. And
definitely.
Bentley weren't at their best. I mean, are they really the Bentley Greens if they're wearing fluorescent orange? Not sure.
Look, speaking of construction workers, it looked like we had 11 of them out on the pitch on Friday night, but Bentley coming away with a pretty comfortable 2-0 win there. And I suppose if Gully are going to gift you 2 goals, you're going to take them every day of the week.
Well, Gully are often their own worst enemy, so it's not the first time this season they've coughed up something stupid. They've got more quality in the squad than their position on the table seems to represent, but I'm not sure if they're going to make finals this season. I think they're sort of floating away from that top 6 picture. Yeah, look, for me, sort of coming into the year, that would have been a sort of pick for my top 4, to be honest. But just flattering to deceive for most of the year, Gully. Avondale with a 2-1 win over St Albans. Valentini. Was it Valentini with 2? Double. So he's now top scorer in the competition, clear of the Golden Boot race.
And an amazing goal by St Albans in the 93rd minute.
It was Kim Young-ho. He's got a real left foot on him, and
straight from the corner.
Olympico, I think they call it.
Yeah.
There wasn't that much the keeper could do. It was perfect.
No, it was literally pigeoned. Absolutely pigeoned. Fantastic goal. Well, maybe a bit of a consolation in the 93rd minute, but, I would have been running all over the pitch like a madman if I'd managed to fluke one of those in. But
not sure how windy it was at Reggio Calabria.
Look, the wind this weekend, I think, played a major part in a couple of games here. But that is Melbourne for you, mate. The weather can impact the result quite badly.
100%.
Oakley with a pretty tight 1-0 win over Port Melbourne. Joe Guest doing his best not to put it in from about 2 yards out. Yeah,
it was a scrappy finish.
Scrappy.
Early on, they held on to the leads.
Yeah.
It was kind of a nothing game.
Bit of a nothing game, yeah. I think once Oakley sort of got up, they just set in and got comfortable.
Still not hugely impressed, but it's sort of the Chris Taylor way, is that you kind of pigeonhole players into what he sees as their very limited skill set, and then just gives them very specific jobs to do, and they grind out results. And it's working. They've been getting results. They've been climbing the table steadily. I think I'd expect with the star names on the team sheet there for it to be slightly easier on the eye.
Yeah.
And the big decision they've made to drop Tyson Holmes to the bench seems to be giving Joe Guest a little bit more freedom to do his thing. I don't know if I agree with that. If I'd probably be persisting in trying to make them coexist, but Chris Taylor's decided that it's all too hard and he'd rather have two more basic defensive midfielders to hold down the fort, and Joe Guest can basically freelance and do whatever he wants, and one of the best players in the comp. So
yeah, look, I suppose that does give you that option of really changing things up by chucking Holmes in if the game's not going your way. But Oakley,
embarrassment of riches to be able to do that.
Oh, look, I mean, I'd like to have those sort of headaches, to be honest, but Oakley have just been doing it pretty much all year.
Yeah.
They're just a consistently good team and just another solid result for them.
And they've ridden their injury crisis well and recruited well to replace guys like Eliopoulos who went down with long-term injuries. So they're title contenders for sure.
100%. Altona Magic with a 2-1 win over Eastern Lions in a relegation battle here.
Huge result for Altona.
Massive result for Altona.
They're out of the relegation zone.
It's amazing, isn't it? What, a couple of wins in the
Can't believe Dandenong City won and still they're in the relegation zone. How would you feel?
Oh, look. The Mpl it really is just amazing. Altona somehow managed to get a result on the same week that Dandy do, and there's basically no movement down the bottom half of the table. Or that bottom 3 or 4.
No idea who's coaching them.
Nah.
No idea what formation they're playing. No idea what Troy Ruthven was trying to do with his goal celebration.
Oh, look, reminiscent of an old FIFA celebration, if I do remember, Josh, the Screaming Eagle. No, absolutely ridiculous celebration. But look, I suppose when you're not winning too many games, you're pretty happy when you're getting goals. So good on them for getting the pretty good result for them over the weekend. Eastern Lions maybe a little bit unfortunate not to get at least a point out of the game, but that's the way football goes sometimes. Dandenong Thunder pinching a dramatic late winner against Heidelberg to win 1-0.
I was calling this one. Yeah, look, I really didn't understand why George Katsakis decided to play Josh Wilkins at centre-back. And
then a left-back at right-back.
And look, I can understand why he chose it, because perhaps he thought those were his 4 best defenders, so he's going to fit him into the back line any which way, despite how the pieces actually fit together. But leaving Luke Burgess on the bench and opting for Wilkins at centre-back and having to do this massive reshuffle with Ruben Way as a left footer on the right-hand side just didn't work at all. And Josh Wilkins, as we saw in the game against Knights, has been one of their most attacking threats.
He was absolutely phenomenal in the game against us. He's, for me, one of the best right-backs in the league, especially bombing on as sort of that wing-back.
I mean, once I saw the team sheets with Noel Bernarda absent, it turned out due to having trials at Newcastle Jets. Fair enough too. He's been phenomenal
He's been on a tear this year.
12 goals from attacking midfield. It's unbelievable, and he's been there, the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah,
in an attacking
really been
sense.
the driving force in their push up the table.
I was certain that Heidelberg were going to get the job done. I thought it would be low scoring, but I thought they'd win 1 or 2-0.
Yeah.
And this team sheet was just puzzling. They didn't change it. They should have changed it at halftime. They didn't. And eventually, after threatening throughout the second half from set-piece situations, there was one missed from Ali Soleimani that was from about 2 metres away, and it was a bouncing cross to the back post, and it was on his weaker right foot. But he had so much of the goal to aim at. It was an open goal, and he hit it sideways into the defender to block. And then they had 2 brilliant opportunities in succession straight after that. I couldn't believe they didn't score. But finally, in the 93rd minute, Keegan Sheridan came up for a corner. And
came up massive.
Beautiful delivery from Mehmeti, the left back, who takes all the set pieces. I don't know if he takes them when Bernarda's there. I suspect not. But a beautiful cross from him from the right-hand side corner. And Keegan Sheridan heads into the back of the net. They take all 3 points. And they actually leapfrog Heidelberg from 8th place up to 5th place.
Yeah.
Which shows how tight this league is.
The league is... They're probably realistically from 3rd to 10th in the league is ridiculously tight. And we're going to go through that now quickly. So with the action from the round finishing up, Avondale clear top on 41 points. Oakley now in 2nd on 34 points. Bentley in 3rd on 33 points. Hume City in 4th on 31 points. Dandenong Thunder moving up to 5th on 28 points, and Heidelberg dropping down to 6th and rounding out the top 6 on 27 points. Port Melbourne on 26 points in 7th. The Melbourne Knights coming in 8th on 26 points, being separated by Port Melbourne on goal difference alone. South Melbourne in 9th on 25 points. Green Gully in 10th on 20 points. Eastern Lions at 11th on 15 points. And then rounding at the bottom 3, Altona Magic in 12th on 14 points. Dandenong City in 13th on 14 points. And bringing up the bottom of the table, St Albans Saints on 10 points. Now, guys, we're going to go to a short break. And when we come back, we'll be wrapping up the Melbourne Knights game from Friday night. And we'll be having a bit of a chat about the Melbourne Derby coming up this weekend.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years. But not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the price of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co, Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
We are more than engineers. We are more than project managers. We are more than surveyors. We are more than infrastructure specialists. We are more than planners. So, who are we? We are problem solvers, providing the highest quality service and results. We are a team of skilled professionals, focused on customer needs and outcomes. We are 23 years of industry experience, adhering to the highest safety standards. We are Melbourne, and we are right across Victoria. We are the Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions. Lanco Group. We are more than you realise, and we are ready to partner with you.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
The Night Train is brought to you by St Andrew's Hotel, 128 Nicholson Street, Fitzroy. Beautifully crafted, cosy and intimate spaces for your drinking and dining experiences.
And welcome back to the show, everyone. Now, just a quick results update for our under-21s and under-19s. Both the under-21s and 19s recorded victories over Dandy City this weekend, winning 3-1 and 2-1 respectively. Both games started following similar paths, with Dandy City starting better in both games, with the Knights gaining the momentum in the second half. The goal scorers for the 21s in the Friday night's curtain raiser to the seniors were Luka Korlic, Nikola Katsakis and Oli Chakadun. Now, I did happen to see Oli's goal. He posted it on his Instagram story over the weekend, but great little run forward and a good finish and sensible celebration afterwards. You got to rate that from the left back bombing on.
Better outfielder than his brother?
Oh, look, his brother wasn't a bad outfield player in his younger days. I happened to see him play a couple of times because my Corn played in the same junior team as him at the Knights. But yeah, look, I think Ollie might just edge him in the outfield.
Okay.
The one cameo Harry did make, look, like he done what he could, but. And the goal scorers for the under-19s on Sunday were Mark Sayi and captain Luke Fack. Big shout out to the 9 players who were involved in both the under-21s and 19 squads over the weekend. So well done to all those boys, and well done on the good results for both teams over the weekend. Now, coming into Friday night, Dandenong City coming out 2-0 winners over the Knights on Friday. Nick Kalmar, brace, 2 absolutely fantastic goals from Kalmar. Both. The second one was an absolute rocket. Manos had absolutely no chance, really, with either of them.
I mean, that's so hard to hit the ball on the swivel on the volley like that. He's just got pure technical quality, and he's always had that, and he always comes up with something special every single season. There was that volley in early 2020 before the season was abandoned against Hume, I believe. Yeah, it was Hume, which was just absolutely ridiculous with his left foot. Like,
he has got such an ability to strike the ball, and look, you give him that time and space, and he's going to make you pay. But again, I think very disappointing performance from the Knights overall. You know, Webby probably a bit unlucky not to have scored in the 9th minute. You know, you score there, maybe the first half ends up a little bit differently, but in between Nick Kalmar scoring both his goals, I think there's more than enough time for the squad to really stand up and put their foot down and change sort of the pace of the game, and just never really came. Dandy looked in control, and just a very, very disappointing performance on Friday night. First game back from the lockdown, you know, you'd think everyone's going to be fired up, really give it a good shake. And I think in the first probably 10, 15, 20-odd minutes we did. And then I think once Kalmar sort of scored, it was, I don't know, Josh. It stung. That one on Friday night stung a bit, mate. Because coming into the pointy end of the season, those sort of games are the games you really need to be winning if you want to be making a push for the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to take. Away at Danny City is never going to be easy.
Especially
Croatian clubs always lift when they play against Knights. 100%. We know this.
And the conditions on Friday, you know, the wind definitely did help both of those strikes along, Kalmar's anyway. But, you know, we had the wind in the second half. It did seem to die down a bit, but that's definitely no excuse. You know, again, Kalmar, for that first one, Bryce has flicked that header on outside, and Kalmar's on his own, running onto a half volley. You know, I don't know what chance Manos has got at stopping that one. You know, he's just inside the box, catching it on the half volley, and he's basically buried it into the bottom right-hand corner. He's never getting there. Yeah, and Manos probably saved another couple in between him scoring both of those phenomenal goals to really keep you in the game and give you a chance. But, you know, neither goal you can really blame the keeper for.
Yeah.
Both absolute bombs. The second one, I mean, to strike that on the swivel like that with the ball blowing around everywhere in the wind and bury it into the top corner, like, that's going to be a good shout for goal of the season. Absolutely phenomenal strike. But
yeah, it'll certainly be on the highlight reel come the end of the campaign. Where did you see it going wrong? I mean, we had one of the best performances of the season against Oakley pre-lockdown, and then this was a massive dip. What differences did you see? Obviously, we couldn't go, so we didn't see it in person, but on the stream, what were your observations?
Look, for me, I thought that Dandy, just especially through the midfield, Kalmar, I think he's got the ability in his locker to just pull out one of those games. And I know, like you mentioned it on the commentary early, Kalmar looks like he's going to be on one today. He ended up being, like, he was phenomenal in the midfield. Topalovic, Marshall in that back four is just going to be solid. You know, they've made a couple of tweaks in terms of how they're playing. They're looking at Dandy especially, are looking a lot more open and a lot more attacking. And I think we just, once we sort of went down, I don't know if the boys knew, the midfield was just, they ran over us through the middle of the park there. Absolutely ran over us through the middle of the park. And that game was really calling out for someone to stand up, step up and take charge of the midfield there, and just didn't come from the Knights at all. And in most games in the MPL across, you know, even the VPL, the team that dominates the midfield is the team that's going to win the game 9 times out of 10. And Dandy with a better team through the middle of the park.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the central battle.
Yeah.
And I think Dandenong are playing a little bit more expansively since they made that coaching change, since they tried to rethink things during the break. They've certainly improved. There was some set-piece defensive issues that I saw in one of Mickey Trollina's first fixtures in charge that I thought were absolutely shocking, but they've definitely cleaned that aspect of it up. But Knights did have a few chances to pull goals back.
Yeah, look,
Webby had some good opportunities, right?
Look, again, Webby was probably unlucky not to score probably 10 minutes into the game. Back pass from the other centre-back, not Topalovic, I'm not sure what his name is.
Was it Shahavdic maybe?
Maybe. And he's run onto it, tried to flick it over the keeper, didn't quite get it there. And, again, that's unfortunately, that's been a bit of a story of our season, especially in the last couple of months, excluding the lockdowns. We've got a bad habit of missing chances early in games that would really put you in a position to really kick on and maybe take a comfortable lead at a 1 or 2-0, and we seem to always want to do it the hard way, and missed chances are going to cost you.
Our boy Felipe had a bit of a rough evening.
Yeah, unfortunately Felipe got subbed off early with a bit of a knock, so speedy recovery to Felipe. Hope he's back as soon as he can be, because he's been a real fire starter for us this year. Just overall, just a very, very disappointing and lacklustre performance from us, I think. That's definitely not the best football. And look, I know you're coming out of a bit of a lockdown, wouldn't have had an overly long time to train together as a squad to really get back into it, but, everyone's playing under the same conditions.
We've seen a lot of lacklustre football this weekend, in all honesty. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to have the Mpl back, but I don't think any of the squads are really playing at their full potential, even Oakley and Avondale,
Yeah, definitely not. Look, it is going to take a bit of time to get really back into the swing of things, but, I think the team we fielded on Friday night is good enough to beat Dandy City.
Yeah, it is.
At the end of the day, it's those. If the squad's serious about making a push for finals, those are games you have to be winning, and I can't overstate that enough. Look, it is what it is. You move on to next week, and you pick yourself up, dust yourself off. We've got a massive game against Hellas this weekend, but it was just, to me, Josh, it wasn't good enough, mate. Just not good enough, and I expect more from our senior 11. I expect more from us as a club than the performance we trotted out on Friday night.
I think they expect more from themselves.
Yeah.
The coaching staff certainly expects more from the group. They're taking this very seriously. I imagine there'll be some pretty frank exchanges of words at training tonight of how
definitely
poor the performance was, and the way that the side didn't really stick to the principles of how they've been trained to play this season.
Yeah, look, and when you look at it, when we play like that this year, we've cut so many teams up through the middle. We've scored some fantastic goals with some really good passages of play, and that, for whatever reason, was just not there on Friday. So, look, if that's what it's going to take to give us that kick in the arse for this sort of back half of the year, if the boys come out and put this weekend against Hellas, that loss gets forgotten about very, very quickly. So it's just on the squad now to, a training this week, take a look at yourselves and figure out where you want to be pushing.
I mean, there's no bigger incentive than an original Melbourne derby.
Look, and we're going to get to that.
Up for.
We're going to get to that now, Josh. Absolutely massive game for the Knights this Saturday afternoon at Hellas. I believe it's a 5 o'clock kickoff.
7 o'clock, I think. 7
o'clock kickoff. For me, this is the game. When the fixtures come out, this is the game of the year you look for. Home and away. You want to know when it's coming up. Bit of a spew that you won't be able to have crowds because it's a fantastic away game, South away, and great opportunity here for the boys to really get the season back on track.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, South having some mixed spells of football
much like
as well.
Us.
They've been up and down, very inconsistent. South don't really seem to know what their best 11 is. Decent performance away to Hume City on the weekend.
Yeah. Decent goal.
Yeah.
Decent goal.
It's kind of a junk goal, to be honest, but it was a good strike.
No, good strike. Junk build-up.
They literally, if people haven't seen it, they literally played a long ball from kickoff, won the second ball, and then it was just a volley straight into the back of the net.
Yeah, from about 9 metres outside the box.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I mean, you're not going to do that every week, but look, knowing our luck, it might happen to us 3 times this weekend. Who knows?
See, Zobek, here, this is the mentality that we need to eradicate from, at least from the playing group, maybe from the supporters as well. There's a slight lack of confidence, I think.
No, it's not lack of confidence. Oh, look, I think it's a bit of mid-season blues, bit of lockdown blues, bit of everything. And look, to be honest, if Knights had won on Friday night, mate, I would have been coming in here all guns blazing, smashing furniture around. I would have been wrapped. But yeah, when the weather's a bit crappy, Knights didn't get the win on Friday. I'm a bit deflated today. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. But again, got a big chance to turn that around this weekend. Look, I'm backing the boys in to get the result this week.
Are there any specific changes you'd like to see, selection decisions?
Look, I think this...
Does Mikulic come in to the starting lineup potentially?
Yeah, look, maybe. Look, for me, I like what Caleb's had to offer us this year. Like, he's been a bit unlucky, I think, in front of goal. Probably deserved to have at least another 3 or 4. But the team that got trotted out on Friday night, barring Felipe, as long as he's okay to be playing, if he's come off for the injury, we'll find out, I think, a bit later in the week what his availability is going to be like. But, I think Trevor... sitting in at right back, he's looked good in patches. Juzel and McGarry in midfield have been, if I'm honest, they've been hit and miss all year. They've had games where they've looked absolutely fantastic as a midfield too, and other games where it's just hasn't really worked out for whatever reason. So the team's good enough to get the result this week. Honestly, I'm backing Albano in to score, and I reckon he's just going to cut across and just bang one into the bottom corner. And look, I'd like to see Webby get one as well. Look, it'd be nice if all 4 of the front of that really front 4 could step up and get one. But I think Albano can step up, and we can maybe pinch a 1-0 result this week.
I think it's going to be a tight game.
It's going to be a very tight game. I don't think it's going to be high scoring at all. It's going to be, I think, one maybe 2 goals in the game. And
I think they'll come in the second half as well.
Yeah,
it's a big pitch at Lakeside, and these teams are a little bit less fit than they were pre-lockdown.
Yeah.
I suspect the game will open up in the last 20 minutes or so, and that's when that's winning time.
That's when it's going to be an opportunity for someone to step up. So, absolutely massive game. Look, you're sort of running out of time now to the end of the year to make that push. If you look at the table, a win this week against Hellas, that keeps them where they are, and depending on how other results go, we could push up potentially as high as maybe 5th, depending on how other results go, from 8th, which, puts you in there. If you get a win the week after again, you can even push up to maybe 3rd. So,
Thunder are playing Oakley, which is a tough fixture.
Oakley gets you the result there. And
Port Melbourne are playing Altona, which looks like a Port Melbourne win, but Altona did win last weekend.
Yeah.
I still think Heidelberg will probably beat St Albans, but still lifts you into contention for the 6th.
It puts you thereabouts. A win this week in dropping Hellas, keeping Hellas a bit further down behind you and pushing you back up, gives you a real good chance to make that push. And I still think we're good enough to get there. When we're playing our best football or even good football, we are definitely not a team you want to be playing against. We've got the potential to be fantastic. If you look at the strides we've made across the season, look, it's been a bit up and down, but I think overall we've come a long way from where we were last year, and this weekend's just going to be a big opportunity to really put a stamp on that and put yourself right in the mixer there for a final spot.
Just going through some of the Facebook live comments here, and we do love the interaction we get on the Facebook stream.
Oh, definitely.
Fantastic stuff. Some fans lamenting that Ivan Franic hasn't signed for the Knights.
Well, look,
you can't. It's not a registration window. So
yeah, well, look, given our transfer period ended in round 10, we missed him by a little bit, about 14 weeks. So look, it's not for.
That's the luxury of State League One. It's you're always on the market.
Always on the market. So unless Ivan Franic was somehow to jump in a time machine, become one of our youth team players, then we could definitely bring him back up. Or as an under 21, you've got a bit more freedom of movement, but for someone of his calibre and age, not exactly a signing we could have brought across at that point of the year.
Maybe next season we'll see.
Maybe. Look, who knows? That's a bit above my pay grade down at the club, Josh. I host a radio and sell beers, mate.
A few comments about Kalmar's performance as well.
Oh, definitely. There would be.
James admiring his techers and saying he looks so relaxed all the time. Sometimes people wrongly interpret that as laziness. He's one of those laconic players. It's always fun to watch because he seems to be playing at his own pace all the time, Kalmar.
Oh, look, when he's on, he's absolutely fantastic to watch. He always seems to put in a good performance when he in these big sort of games.
Mm-hmm.
And
product of which youth system? Remind me again.
I believe he came through the Knights youth system.
Yes, that would be Melbourne Knights youth product. So take a little slice of the credit there.
A little bit. Look, he's been an absolutely phenomenal player over his career and getting all the love he deserves for 2 fantastic goals over the weekend. James Baxter coming in on the comments. Time to smack them about 5-1 win with a Webb hat-trick and a Manos pen save after a horrible dive from a South Melbourne player. Look, mate, there's a little saying in Croatian. He's tvoje ustima Božjima uši. From your mouth into God's ears. Let's hope for a 5-0 win. 5-1 win. As long as we're 5-0 up before we concede the penalty, I'll be pretty happy.
Johnny reckons it'll be a 2-2 draw. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring.
Look, we could be wrong, Josh. We have been once or twice on the show this year. Me probably
15 or 16
Yeah,
times.
me maybe more than you. I've got to stop picking Knights to win every week. Blind loyalty. But, look, I think like we said before, it's going to be maybe a goal or 2 that decide the game here. I can't see it going really over 3.
No.
Maybe a 2-1 I think is the highest it can go with maybe a bit of late drama, but
I'm saying 1-0.
Yeah,
don't know to whom.
Look, I'm backing Knights in for a 1-0 win, and I think that's going to be about the scoreline. If it goes the other way, that's going to be about there.
We can Dorjok come off the bench, do the business again.
It'd be nice. It'd be good for him to get back on the score sheet in the ones as well. Bit unlucky.
It'd be nice for me to get his name right in the commentary as well. That'd be good too.
It was probably a bit unlucky not to score against Oakley. It's running onto it how he did, running into the box. He probably should have buried it, but unfortunately he didn't. And no, look, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic game. The stream is going to be up.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be on the call.
So hammer
chance for me to redeem myself from last time.
Hammer Josh on the comments, everyone. So just jump in. Make sure you make yourself a YouTube account. Don't use your name.
See, the thing is about Saturday is I'm going to be calling with Steve Curtin, and some people, I don't think this, but some people think our voices sound the same. So it might be a very strange experience. You might think I'm talking to myself, but that's Steve.
Yeah, look, Josh, if you've got an alter ego and that's what you want to call him, good, best of luck to you, mate. But I'm not going to indulge your fantasies. Josh commentating on his
Geelong
own
Josh, a.k.a. Steve Curtin. He's coming up for the game. He's doing a fantastic job with all the games out west this season and getting rewarded with the big ones. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. We're calling the women's game beforehand, so it's going to be a nice evening at Lakeside Stadium.
Fantastic evening at Lakeside. And look, hopefully, as long as everything stays the same, the home game next weekend will be open for business. Our social club, the Melbourne Croatia Soccer Club, is back open. So if anyone wanted to head down there over the weekend, I believe they will be showing the game on Saturday night.
Nice.
But that may be something we have to check. I probably should have found that out before I came on the show and announced that they'll be showing the game. But
hey, it's not our responsibility to give out public health advice.
Yeah, look,
look on their Facebook page or whatever.
Look on their it'll be up on the Facebook page for sure. But look, everyone jump on the stream, watch the game. It's going to be an absolute ripper. I've got a feeling that's, regardless of where both teams are sitting on the table, that is, whenever Knights play Hellas, it's just fantastic. And it's shown over the last few years. They've been a couple of absolute memorable derbies over the last couple of years. What would be your favourite, Josh, over the last probably 5-6 years?
FFA Cup tie. Didn't Hammer score a hat-trick or something in that game?
I think he scored 2.
Yeah, he scored twice. That was a great game.
That was a fantastic game.
What about you?
Oh, look, there's been a couple that really stand out. That one was massive because I was going into it and I'm going, look, maybe we can do the business, and the boys just came out in absolute beauty. But one that really sticks out in my memory was a game from, I think, maybe 2011 or 2012. Playing
my MPL memories don't stretch back that far.
Yeah, look.
Well, it wasn't called the MPL then.
No, it was the VPL back then, and Craig Sweeney scored an absolute hammer of a volley from outside the box, and about 15 of us ran into the change room, sung the song with the players, and ended up on a bit of a tear that night. It was absolutely fantastic.
I can't beat that.
You can't beat that. Yeah, in the change room, singing the song with the players, the boys are all fired up. It's something special. You can't buy that. You can't. And look, we can't advertise to do that again because there are point deductions if people do run into the change rooms, as we found out a couple of years ago after that FA Cup game, actually.
Breaking new ground for disciplinary proceedings.
Yeah, look, wouldn't be my first time. Now, it's a special thing playing Hellas this Saturday. We hope to see you all on the stream, and even better, hope to see you all in person next Friday at Knight Stadium. We'll be back on the show Monday night at 8 o'clock to hopefully discuss what was a fantastic Melbourne Knights win. Hopefully James Baxter's right, and we managed to snag a nice 5-goal haul where he pulls up with a hat-trick.
Take 3 points any which way.
Oh, look, I'll take 3 points if their goalkeeper has a brain aneurysm and throws the ball in the back of the net. I'm taking it. I'm going to feel bad for him, but I'm taking it. I'm taking it, mate. We need the points. And look, something stupid. Honestly, I'd be so happy if we whip in a corner and one of their players just like felches it into the top corner. It'd be wonderful. Or even like, I don't know if you remember that own goal that our left back scored last year against you.
I do remember that. Absolutely
rifled it into the top corner. If one of the Hellas players wouldn't mind doing that on the weekend, that would make me a very happy man.
Yeah, sure. I mean, any which way, whatever it takes. We've got to go, Zovac, because we've got a Olympic semi-final.
We do have. We've got an Olympic semi-final to watch. So we'll see you all back on the show next Monday night, and hope to see you on the YouTube comments, Hammer and Josh, on Saturday.
Their time has arrived. I think last week that 10-man performance in the preliminary final was absolutely exceptional, so I'm going for the Knights.
But when you talk of Knights, it's a real fighting team.
Stuck into the back of the net. Melbourne Knights take the lead 1-0. Melbourne Knights will win the Doherty Cup.
For a finals berth, that's it! The Croatia fans salute the goal that could be so vital.